welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button so you don't miss any of my videos. I wanted to come to you guys being a former teacher. As some of you may or may not know, I taught for 16 years, and then I went into a different position for the last 3 years in education, and then was laid off in June, at the end of June of this year. So being as though I had been traveling, commuting to work about back and forth for a total of 2 hours a day, every day for the last school year, I said, you know what? And I had a 1-year-old. I was like, let me just roll with the punches, go with the flow for a little bit, and take a break. So I've been taking a break from July to October. November, because we're currently in November. So July to November, 4 months. The time has flown, but I've been, on YouTube. So I've been working and looking for a job, and taking care of a baby is work too. So that's why and how the time has flown. So anyway, when I hear stories about Houston ISD, or, education period, it catches my attention. And, some of y'all may be interested in it. If you are really interested, you can always go to News to Houston and type in cheating scandal, and it has all of the stories. Has all of the stories relating to what I'm about to talk about. I'm going to find the correct story that kind of sums up what this cheating scandal is all about. And then, I'll come back and give updates. So let's look at this one.
$1 million cheating scheme where more than 200 unqualified teachers were certified. Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg announced criminal charges on Monday against the 5 people accused of participating in this scheme, which allowed those unqualified teachers to work in local schools. KPRC2 reporter TJ Parker is live in Independence Heights at Booker T. Washington High School with a breakdown of some of these details. Good morning, TJ.
And mind you guys, in my last position, one of the schools on my team, like one of my team members was a specialist at Booker T. Washington, and my husband went and graduated from Booker T. Washington. So it's a shock, because it is one of the highly acclaimed and celebrated schools in HISD, for African Americans.
Hey, good morning, Haley. Yes, we're at Booker T. Washington High School this morning because District Attorney Kim Ogg says the head basketball coach here, Vincent Grayson, is essentially the kingpin of this whole operation. We just heard that he just appeared in probable cause court within the past 15 minutes. Our crew there says his bond was just set at $300,000, and Ogg says he made more than $1 million off of this.
Well, he must got it to bond out.
District Attorney Kim Ogg says how this worked is teacher candidates would pay Vincent Grayson, who you see here in a previous video, a couple $1,000s, which he then would give a percentage of that money to a certifying official at the Houston Training and Education Center.
And just to stop for just a second, just so y'all know how close it hits to home for me, the principal at that school used to be my assistant principal when I taught 3rd grade, and in my first 5 years of teaching, he was my assistant principal.
Teachers from across the state would drive hours to Houston after failing to pass their certification tests at least once. They then show up to the testing center, show their ID, and sign in, but then leave. That's when prosecutors say Booker T. Washington High School assistant principal Nicholas Newton would sit in their seat and take the test for them, and the results would show they'd pass with flying colors. Investigators estimate he took more than 400 certification tests, fraudulently impersonating at least 200 teachers and collecting a cut of the money.
Now, see, this is why it's hard. It would be hard for me to do something like this. How would you sit and take all those tests for somebody? How much money is worth you sitting down and physically taking a test? That many tests. I took my test and passed. Every certification test I ever took for education, I passed the first time. Certified in EC through 4, got my ESL certification, and I have my principal certification. And we had to take an additional test, PPR, whatever test that was, once you get into the classroom. Took and passed first time. So I feel bad for people who can't pass the test. But can you not pass the test because you don't know how to take tests? Or can you not pass the test because you're not qualified to teach and don't know anything about the classroom?
Of the money.
The damage is not just to the education system, which is under great duress right now.
Sure is.
But it's actually to the families of the children who go to those schools, who trust our government to educate their kids and to keep them safe for 8 hours a day. And it just destroys that kind of faith that our community has in public schools.
All right, so again, new here at 7 within just the past few minutes. Vincent Grayson, the head basketball coach here at Booker T. Washington High School, who Kim Ogg is calling the kingpin of this operation, was in probable cause court. His bond was set at $300,000. Now, the charges all 5 of these people are facing has a potential prison time of anywhere from 2 years to life in prison. As for the teachers who benefited from this, the Texas Education Agency tells us it will, quote, pursue appropriate action against any educator involved in this scheme. Haley, we'll send it back to you.
Wow, TJ, parents are going to be outraged when they hear about this one. Thank you so much.
All right, so here's a full list of the educators charged with 2 counts of engaging in organized criminal activity. Vincent Grayson, 57, the head boys basketball coach at Booker T. Washington High School in Houston ISD for nearly 20 years. Grayson was charged as the organizer of the cheating scheme. Tawana Guilford Mason, 51, the former director, VA certifying official at the Houston Training and Education Center. Mason's role as test proctor allowed her to keep the proxy scheme undetected. Nicholas Newton, 35, an assistant principal at Booker T. Washington High School in Houston ISD. Newton is alleged to have participated in the scheme as the proxy test taker. And he has, I think, 3 kids, and one of them is really small. Darian Nicole Wilhite, 22, a proctor at Tactics, who is alleged to have taken bribes to allow Newton to act as a testing proxy. And LaShonda Roberts, 39, an assistant principal at Yates High School in Houston ISD. Roberts is charged with recruiting nearly 100 teachers to participate in the cheating scandal. My dad went to Yates, and my ex-husband graduated from Yates High School. And we'll look at this one so y'all we can put faces to names.
Known as the TEA, is reviewing allegations that hundreds of teachers on the state's teacher certification test. But beyond that, they aren't saying much. We asked the agency to provide somebody for an interview to share their thoughts on these allegations. And then we also sent them a list of questions, many questions you at home are asking us. However, they say they could not elaborate at this time. But this is still a very new and active investigation. So for more, let's go to KPRC2's Real One Logan live from the Harris County Jail, where those educators, Real One, remain in jail with details on the testing company.
Yeah, Daniela, 3 of those educators are in the jail, Harris County Jail behind me here. 2 of them had their bonds reduced this morning, so at any moment they could be released. 3 Harris County mugshots for Houston ISD educators charged with engaging in organized crime for an alleged teacher certification scheme. The Harris County DA alleges the statewide effort led by Booker T. Washington basketball coach Vincent Grayson. Court records state Grayson intentionally and knowingly made false entry in a governmental record, namely a Pearson VUE Texas Educator Certification Examination. Pearson is one of 2 test vendors the state uses. According to the company's online promotional video, they have several safeguards around its testing centers to prevent events like this.
Many programs require 2 forms of ID. For example, a passport, driver's license, or credit card.
Me personally, education was great when teachers did not have to take, didn't necessarily have to take that test to teach. It was about your passion for kids, and especially in the lower economic areas, you really have to have a passion for being an educator in those schools because they are really, really tough. And so when you require teachers to take that test and they can't pass it, then it's like you end up with teachers who, they qualify, but their heart is not in it. That's why a lot of the schools in the lower economic areas are failing or have been, have been failing schools in the past because you can't get the right educators in there.
It's very troubling, right? Because a teacher, especially teachers and coaches who help influence children's behavior, we count on them for their moral compass, right? A part of what they do goes beyond their
He looked like a rough assistant district attorney. Oh, he might need his background checked.
mastery of their subject matter.
I'd just like to remind everyone that my client is innocent until proven guilty, and we look forward to hearing more about the state's evidence, and we look forward to challenging that evidence, and so that Ms. Roberts can have her day in court.
Why is
So
it
we reach
messed
out to the DA's
up?
office along with the TEA trying to get a list of those involved. We have yet to hear back from them regarding that matter. The TEA says that the State Board for Educator Certification will determine whether sanctions will be put in place for the once this whole
I'm pretty sure
once
it
this
will.
all resolves itself. We tried reaching out to that board. We were unable to find any contact information for them. Reporting live in downtown Houston, Roman Blogan, KPRC 2 News.
Yeah, so like I said, it hits close to home, and it is a travesty. It is upsetting to know that so many teachers are uncertified, but on the flip side of things, they are hiring, many districts are hiring uncertified teachers. So why they hire uncertified teachers if it's required for them to pass a test? Very good question. Education is just a mess. Please share y'all thoughts about this, especially if you have kids or grandkids that are in an educational setting, public school setting right now. How are the school districts where you are? Because I just remember going to school, being a student, loving my teachers, wanting to be a teacher. However, that's not what I went to school for. But, I got my certification, went through a certification program. And by the time I got into education as a teacher, it was the beginning of the decline. It's just a mess. I could go all day. And if any of y'all are teachers, were teachers, or no teachers, y'all know how teachers can get started and won't stop, I was done after the pandemic when my mom passed, and I didn't get any support from my campus, and it was so much more required of me than was before. Plus my mom had passed, and I was like, nah, I can't. The Lord blessed me to get out of education after 2020. And get into a specialist position where I was able to provide resources and programs to a particular campus for 3 years. That wasn't the best, but it was a whole lot better than being in a classroom. I guaranteed I would do it again. And plus I got raises after going into that position. So it was better, but the funding ran out. They still have the department, but out of 200 and something specialists, they let go of 170. So, I don't know. Let me know y'all thoughts. I mean, these people that are accused of this, in my opinion, probably did it allegedly. It is, who would even think of doing something like this? And I heard they got caught by, a good Samaritan ratting on them. Otherwise, they probably would have never got caught. So like I say, nobody's doing their jobs anymore. So you can get away with a lot, but at the same time, it's easy to get caught. And all this money they made, I hope they had bail money. All right, well, I'll come back and update y'all on this if I see there's interest. Please, please, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button so you don't miss any of my videos. Bye.